Hi, Mikel. I know it was a defeat this evening, but did you get what you wanted to from the pre-season friendly?
Yes, for the three of them, and today in particular, he thought again different demands, different understanding of things that we have to do, and I'm very pleased with what I've seen in most of the things that we've done. But we missed something, in certain moments. That preciseness, that moment that unlocks the result, the moment to turn the result away and with the match. But in terms of attitude, the desire, level of organization in the team, it was great, and we have to continue to elevate a little bit all the individual aspects.
Thanks, James.
Mikel, Gabriel and Calafiori obviously weren't fit tonight. Are there any doubts about them being ready for the start of the Premier League season?
I don't think so. If they evolve like they've been evolving the last few days, so Gabriel Magalhaes, Calafiori and Timber, and the three of them will be available.
And Trossard obviously went off with a problem.
He felt a little tweak. I think he tried to turn and he was pushed, and he felt something muscular, so we'll have to assess him.
And just generally, obviously, you fly home now. How would you sort of assess kind of where you are at this point in pre-season?
Well, I'm very positive. Everything that I've seen in the last 10 days gives me a lot of encouragement, and we are ahead of what I was expecting in many areas. Even though tonight's result leaves you a taste, that I think is going to be very positive as well, to realize the margins that winning or not winning have to be controlled as well. And again, we go again. We'll start on Monday again with two great games at the Emirates to finalize the preparation and be ready for Old Trafford.
Thanks, Jordan.
Can I ask about Kepa as well? He wasn't in the squad today.
Yeah, he felt something as well in the game against Newcastle. I think it's a matter of days probably. If that was the Premier League, he could have played, but we decided not to take a risk.
And just, I know it's very early, but with Thomas Frank in charge now, did you see that Tottenham will be a different beast this season, a different sort of team to play against?
Well, I think every manager brings his idea and has his vision, and they are two very different managers, and I'm sure that Thomas wants to do that as quick as possible.
Hi, Mikel. Just in terms of intensity and competitiveness and the atmosphere in the stadium, how do you compare this with the matches you had in Singapore just recently?
Well, in terms of support, it was obviously a stadium full of people with different energy than the previous two. In terms of the competition, I think the last two games were very demanding as well, especially the game against Newcastle in one of the aspects. So very pleased with the opposition, with the things, with all the information that we gathered as well from this game collectively and individually. So a lot to learn.
It's been a short visit. Would you like to come back for longer next time?
Well, I think we had enough days and travel here, but yeah, that will be down to the club, which I think they've done an incredible job to get everything organized. So everybody that has been part of that, big thank you, because they couldn't be much better than what they've done.
Hello, Mikel.
Hi.
It felt almost like Arsenal home here. There were a lot of Arsenal supporters here. You must be very proud. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I was amazed. I think the day we arrived with the buses and we saw these people outside the hotel, it just it makes you feel how wonderful and big this football club is, and how lucky we are to have the support with the level of intensity as well that people lives our football club here. So it was great to witness. Again, big thank you, because they've been so patient. We had people waiting for many hours right there. Hopefully they feel proud of the boys, the staff, and everybody at the club. And again, see you soon.
Let me ask you about, obviously there will be many questions about Arsenal's this season. Let me ask you about what's your long-term goal for Arsenal, also for yourself?
No, long, there is no long. It's short is now, is what we learn, what we take already from the game, and we have already spoken about that in the dressing room, and nothing. Start the recovery, start the preparation, be ready to travel. It's going to be a long way, and adapt again to as quick as possible to the jet lag, to coming into the last almost week of the preparation with two great games at home, and be ready for it.
And then last two, one there.
Hi, Mikel. Can I just ask you for your thoughts on the debuts of Gyokeres and Mosquera?
Well, really happy, obviously, to have them here. I think, they're going to add a lot of value. You see straight away as well the energy and the quality that they're gonna bring. It was a short one, but at least that one is off now. And when they play against Villarreal now, I'm sure it will be a bit different.
Final one at the back, please.
Mikel Fuad here from Viper Sport. Commiserations on today's defeat. But I've got to speak about one lad that's been taking the headlines, Max Dauman. Again, 15 years old. In your illustrious career, have you seen anything like this in terms of talent? And how do you plan to, manage this season for him? Because a lot of fans are very excited to see him in action.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's been really impressive what he's done, again, at his age, the way he has entered the matches and with that determination, that quality, that decisiveness, I would say. The same with the other kids that they played. So, yeah, it was another exposure to them, which is not easy, especially at that age, and they certainly done so well, and a lot of people proud.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
And just on the numbers tonight, very delighted to announce a new record for live attendance at a Hong Kong football match, 49,975. 3 days ago, 49,704. So for our total attendance over 2 matches, 99,679. Huge thanks to all the clubs and the Hong Kong Football Festival. Now let's throw it to the room. Thank you all. Thomas, well done. To the front row, please.
Hi, Thomas. Congratulations, your first North London derby win. We've seen a lot of videos of the team doing these real kind of defensive work, throwing each other around, trying to stop the ball getting to mini goals, things like that. How much does that kind of a match like this, the rewards are kind of reaped?
Yeah, that's very, very pleasing, of course, because I think I've also been very clear this was not a friendly. It felt like a competitive match. I think if you saw it was competitive. If you played in, it was very competitive. But some of the bits we've been working hard on is the combination of the defensive organization, so high pressure, middle and low. So there's clear principles, but also that desire to keep a clean sheet, because that makes you have a big opportunity for winning football matches.
Just going to ask you about that goal as well, Pat Matisar's goal. What did you make of it?
Unbelievable goal, fantastic, well taken. All the credit to Pape. He's impressed me. I must admit, he's been really good in last 4 weeks.
Hi, Thomas. You just mentioned that it wasn't a friendly; it was a very competitive game. So, how big a moment is this for the team psychologically?
I think for the team, we are building together. I think what this was, all the positive results or performances you can get just reinforce the messages we try to get into the players, and the team feel it, and I think that desire to defend was good. I think in general, I think first half in general we played a very good first half overall. Second half felt defended a bit too much. But that was good, and then I think as a set pieces was good as well. I think we defended very well, but also very dangerous.
I noticed in the first half that you and Justin were calling players over a lot during breaks in play and giving them instructions. Just wondered what you could tell us, what you were actually telling them.
There was a few different bits. There could be in our phase one building up, maybe when Mickey a little bit lower, so there was an out ball that way, or it could be when we went a little bit longer, Lucas should be a little bit higher, so small tactical instructions.
Hi, Thomas. This trip was arranged before you came to the club, so if the club come to you next season and say, would you consider Hong Kong for pre-season again, what would your response be?
Yeah, definitely. It'll be a yes. I'll definitely consider that. I think everyone who have arranged this have been top. Just see the sellout tonight, fantastic fans, everyone making you feel like an extremely competitive match. It was very important for everyone. So all the things that had to be arranged well, it's just been perfect. So yeah, very pleased.
How is it as an environment in terms of preparing for a season as well, in terms of performance, so the facilities you have and everything that goes with it?
I think that's been good. Very good hotel. The training pitch has been good, which is important. And then, of course, the stadium pitch here in the stadium.
Hi, Thomas. Just wanted to ask you, just being out here and experiencing a game of that magnitude and just being around the city and seeing the fans and things, does it sort of help you, acclimatise to the job you've taken on, just the sort of size of it, the magnitude of it?
Yeah, definitely. I think I have a good idea, but you don't really know before you step into it. And I think see how important it is for the fans. You know, all the fans that's waiting every day for us in the morning and in the evening. The fans that came to the open training, the fans that were here at the game. You understand more and more. First and foremost, how big a club Tottenham is, and also the importance of the club.
Sorry, I'm going to try ask one more. You've spoken before about Mohamed Kudus's unpredictability. Now that you've worked with him for a few weeks, just wanted you to tell us a little bit more about him and in a game like this, what he kind of offers to the team.
Yeah, I think he was really good today. Kudus, I think his hold-up play and taking care of the ball, getting out of tricky situations, his one-on-one skills, creating opportunities for the team, I think was top class. And on top of that, I think he's working extremely hard. There was one recovery run from a set piece where he was sprinting all the way back. I can't remember which one Arsenal player it was, and won the ball back. And that's he just helped the team so much. So he will make a lot of the fans be very excited with his offensive actions, and he will also help the team defensively.
Sorry, Thomas, just one quick one. Dominic Solanke, how close is he to coming back?
It's getting closer. You will see if it's close enough for Newcastle. If not, I'm positive for Bayern.
Hi, Thomas. If it's okay, I just want to ask you about one. He's an Arsenal player now, but Christian Norgard, so we had a big embrace with him at full time. How happy are you to see him kind of getting this opportunity with a Champions League club, and are you surprised at all that he's made that step?
No, it's a little bit emotional. I've known him since he was 15, and I think he's 31 now, and I've been coaching him 12 of those years. So I can say that I know him pretty well. So this is the first time I played against him. He probably played for me more than 300 games, close to 400 games. I don't know, close to 400 games. So it was a little bit strange to see him in the other team. He's a top player. I understand why Arsenal went for him. I'm so happy that he got this great opportunity late in his career.
Hello, Thomas. After the game is over, when the Spurs players greeting with the fans, there was a moment that Romero putting the armband on Son's arm. Actually, I saw that. And then you said that before you didn't decide anything about captaincy yet. So was there any update, or is it still TBC?
Yeah, that is to be confirmed. I haven't taken a decision yet, so I like to understand the group and the players a little bit more. I know I need to make a decision before the first official game against PSG in the Super Cup, and of course I will do that. So it's natural that both Romeo and Son are captains. So I kept it like it was.
Great, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Thomas. Safe travels.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Shots 15, but only one of those on target. It wasn't a big offensive showing from Spurs today, but they got that crucial goal to come away as the 1-0 winners. And after the match, Arsenal midfielder Declan Rice had this to say. Take a listen.
Hong Kong fanfare has been great throughout the events, the practice in today's first North London derby outside of the UK. So is there anything you want to say to the fans?
Yeah, it's been really, really special coming to Hong Kong, going to Singapore. Thank you so much for your support. We don't get to ever come to places like this, so even though we lost, we love you guys, and thank you so much for all the support. We really appreciate it.
You guys spent a lot of time preparing here in Asia, from Singapore to Hong Kong as well. So how do you want to sum up the trip and then something to build on before the season begins?
Yeah, it's been an incredible trip. Like I said, we've really felt the love of all of you guys, and that's pushed us on. Obviously, we lost tonight, but we have another game on Wednesday, and it's still pre-season. We're still getting fitness in, so we're going to keep building and push for big things this season.
Thank you, Declan. Best of luck.
All right, right, so Declan Rice said it is still just preseason, Tony, but what's the biggest thing that you think the Gunners need to work on going forward now?
I would think sharpness, right? It is preseason, right? And we know the attacking side of things is always the most difficult part to get through. Charlie talked a little bit on the Tottenham side about the organization. From Tottenham, I think that's the easier part to get, right? Just putting guys in the right spot, but the rhythm, the spacing, Arsenal just didn't have it today. And give credit to Tottenham because they did sit in a little deeper block, which nullified some of the counterattacking and open space play that we see from Arsenal on a weekly basis. So, but the main thing I think is just a little bit of sharpness, Ali.
Is that how you see it as well, Darian? What was your big takeaway today?
Yeah, it looked like this was more what we're going to see from Tottenham in season. You're right. I think the organization, the role playing, the structure of here's how we're going to set up moving forward was much more clear from Tottenham. Whereas I think for Arsenal, it was, hey, let's work on our fitness. We know what we're going to do. We know the guys that we need to rely on. Let's give Gyokeres some minutes, which we all were excited to see. But it wasn't, I don't think it was taken as maybe seriously structured as Tottenham took it in this match.
I would just add that you could see that Tottenham, when they defended with a block of 6, how often do we see Porro defending well in this match and being in a good position, whereas last season he was very good in the attacking half, but he was always out of position and having to run back facing his own goal when he defended. Today, he could face up. And you could see that across the back line. They looked very comfortable. It wasn't, panic defending. So I think from that standpoint, we're starting to see really how Thomas Frank is going to have this team play.
The biggest changes this season have happened on this Tottenham side, without a doubt. Would you say that this performance you saw today has changed your opinion in a more positive direction? Has it changed in that way for you, Darian? Or are you kind of still the same, still need to see a lot more from them?
I need to see a lot more. I mean, it is preseason. I don't think you can take too much from this other than, we can see the identity that Thomas Frank is bringing, the structure he wants the team to play in. It's going to be really reliant on those outside backs. I think Spence and Porter, like Charlie said, were stellar tonight. They have to be on in that with funneling everything, blocking centrally, funneling everything wide, and just being really good 1v1 defending. But I think I want to see more of what's the attack going to be like. You said it earlier, Tony. That's the part that's difficult of how are you going to score more goals where it's not a giveaway and a brilliant finish from Sarr.
Right, yeah.
We were sitting here going, man, everything's pretty predictable.
Yeah.
Then they started to make some moves, but because Tottenham were defending so well in the low block, you need creative players. And so Martinelli, that's why he comes off, Trossard comes on, and you need a little bit more. And I know Madueke's not there yet. He's still on vacation. I think that's going to be a difference maker in a game like that. But I think Gyokeres is just even more apparent that you need him on the pitch.
I think a bright spot for me, though, was Max Dowman coming in once again. He just looks silky smooth and confident and bold. I actually think he did better going 1v1 than we saw from Saka for most of the match. Just him being aware, there's 2 defenders coming on me. Now there's 3, playing a ball that's cutting through defensive space in an opportunistic pocket. I just love watching him. I really think we're going to see more.
Do you notice when he was on the ball, Gyokeres makes a run, and he's screaming for it, and he gives him the...
Calm.
15-year-olds telling me,
big boy.
I'm the big signing, I'm the striker, give me the ball, and you're telling me, no, calm.
Hey, I mean, you said, yes, these preseason friendlies are a chance for guys to, get their minds right, get a little bit more sharp. But for a 15-year-old like Max Dowman, it's a chance to try and, prove yourself because you don't have the opportunity to not show up and be the best that you possibly can be. But Tony, let's talk a little bit more about Viktor Gyökeres because we only got to see him for, under 20 minutes of this game. Are you a little bit surprised that Mikel Arteta didn't get him in sooner?
Well, it depends on his fitness level and where he's at and where he's kind of fit in training, right? We all thought we were sat here at halftime thinking, okay, now we're going to get Viktor Gyökeres, right? Get 45 minutes out of him. I learned more today about Tottenham than I learned about Arsenal because obviously it's a new manager. We've talked about the low block. They're not afraid to go over the top, which we didn't see a lot of from Big Ange, right, and stretch the field a little bit. I have no fear about Arsenal with regards to that they're going to get it right? There's too talented a side, and now you bring in I'm going to call him, I don't know if he's world-class yet, but he's got the signs of being a world-class striker, especially if he does get it done in the Premier League. So, again, today for me, it was more about Tottenham than it was about learning about Arsenal, in my estimation.
Is that what you thought it would be like going into this game?
Yeah, but I didn't know what Thomas Frank would do with this side, right? Because we had such an extreme with Big Ange last year, this high line that we talked about, and then all the injuries. And that's why it's hard for me to determine where Tottenham's going to finish this year, because when you look at the injuries that they had in this side last year, Van de Ven, Romero, Vicario, Maddison, Richarlison, it's the spine of your team for an extended period of time. If he can keep them healthy, they're certainly going to be a better side than they were last year.
And still dealing with some other injuries as well, but some positive signs moving forward for Thomas Frank. The defensive performance gives Spurs fans something to be very hopeful about going into next season, but the prospect of losing a player like Son and what he's meant to this Tottenham side as the captain, some of the numbers he's put up, the big moments, it's got to be a nervy feeling for Spurs because, Charlie, one of the big question marks is what is this attack going to look like? And so with Harry Kane now gone, Son seemingly on his way out, who is kind of primed to be that next face of Tottenham helping lead the line and put up numbers?
You know, it's not often that you look at a center back as a face of a club, but I think Mickey Van de Ven, since he's 24 years old, and we saw just how good he can be in this league when he's healthy, is going to be potentially the face of this club moving forward, because you got to think Romero is a feisty player. He fits into like the Tottenham mentality, but it feels that he's trying to make a move to La Liga and potentially join Atletico Madrid, but it just feels like he's not going to be there long term. James Maddison he's kind of felt like in and out of being the star in Tottenham. But if I had to pick one for the future and one that just feels right, I think it's Mickey Van de Ven, given what the influence and impact he has on the pitch when he is healthy.
But from a goal-scoring perspective, Tony, who do you think is going to assume that role for this Tottenham side?
Well, Richarlison is a personality. Like, if you're looking for like a face, he's a guy that's recognizable. He has scored goals in the Premier League. I would have went the other way. I would have went with Cucho Romero because of the personality, because of he's an outgoing sort of player, right? He wears his heart on his sleeve, but there aren't, when you talk about big names that are sort of world stars, the guys that are going to be on the cover of the, like the FIFA game, like they don't have it in this group. No. It's not with this group. But think about what Thomas Frank's Brentford was built around and how he changed a couple of forwards and built a couple of forwards and strikers. So that might be the aisle that he likes shopping in, right? Those types of players that he knows he's going to get the work rate all the time. They're always going to give him what he's asking for in a game. So managers build things in different ways. Sonny's been such a personality for this side. As we talked about, it looks like he's out the door, and someone's going to have to assume a leadership responsibility.
Well, there's also a hope that Mohamed Kudus could be that player coming off of a down year at West Ham. You said it, at Brentford, Thomas Frank really did have a key striker in each of his Premier League seasons. Before it was Brian Mbeumo, it was a player like Ivan Toney, Yohan Wissa. So Mohamed Kudus, there's going to be, kind of a void that he needs to fill. How can Thomas Frank get the best out of Kudus this upcoming season, Chuck?
Well, one, it's getting him the ball in the attacking third. The good thing with Mohamed Kudus is he's a two-way player. He's tough to beat as a defender, and then in the attacking phase of play, he's still going to get goals, but he's not your typical goal scorer. He's the person that'll win the ball back for your squad, run at guys 1v1 and create mismatches. I want to see him be a little bit more clinical and more of a chance creator with this Tottenham side. But the guy that they need to be focused on is Dominic Solanke. That's the goal scorer. He needs to be healthy. That's why they brought him in. He's supposed to be their prized asset. He's supposed to be the guy filling the goals quota. We just haven't seen it from him. And I think injuries played a big part of that last year. But if they can keep him healthy, Brennan Johnson healthy, now you're starting to mix in a number of guys. Matisse Tell, who they just purchased for getting his contract over the line for full time. I think now you're starting to figure out, okay, what's the best combination with these guys? And Thomas Frank, that's his role is, okay, I got the defensive structure, but we saw today the attack was not there. So can he figure out who is my best front three?
How are you able to produce as a forward? Wasn't possible last season. I think those guys will show up this season.
Well, one thing to follow with Thomas Frank is, what does Kudus look 6 months from now? What does he look like, right? You mentioned an off season, but a guy that everyone thinks is talented. You mentioned Brennan Johnson. What does he look like now? How do they develop? How does Tell, who's a young player, right? These guys you just mentioned, what do they look like 6 months from now? Because Thomas Frank has seemingly made players better at his time at Brentford, right? Taking players like this, when I say like this, that's unfair. Not always having the world-class name, but having the guys at the next level and making them better and getting them where they can be really competent in the league, right? So, it might take a little bit of time for him, but he's got players with some talent.
On top of that, attacking players like Ivan Toney to start with, right? And Mbumo and Visa. Those three players have really took their game to the next level. Who is he going to take to the next level? Richarlison still doesn't look comfortable for me yet in this side.
Yeah, the mark of a good manager, Tone, that was very well said. It's not just getting the team stuff right. It's how do the individuals within the team progress. My last question for you all just quickly is Tottenham are one blank away from doing well this upcoming season. We saw some of their moves this summer. It looks like, it was pretty quiet relatively. What do you think they're still kind of missing? Is there a certain position or player?
Everyone wants like a number 9 that just scores goals. Solanke hopefully is that guy for them. If Son goes, is Odebert the guy on the left side that can break it down? Because Son did so many things for them on the counter. I think their biggest issue is to stay healthy. I still, last year, in a lot of ways, was so unfair to Big Ange. Now, he didn't help himself with a couple of his press conferences and all that stuff and the way that he played. But he was really strapped with so many injuries. If they can stay healthy, there's no doubt that they can compete. Where they finish is going to be tough. Thomas Frank needs a little bit of time.
Yeah, and depending on how they start the season, could always do some business in the winter.
History was made in Hong Kong. In front of 49,975 fans, Spurs claimed bragging rights in the first ever North London derby played on international soil. A wonder goal from Pape Matar Sarr sealed a 1-0 victory over Arsenal as Spurs lifted the Herbalgi Trophy and continued their unbeaten pre-season campaign. The game started with intensity. Pedro Porro's in-swinging corner struck the inside of the post early on. Richarlison followed up, but William Saliba cleared his header off the line. Arsenal had more of the ball but struggled to break down a solid Spurs defence. Vicario had little to do as Spurs created the better chances. Mohamed Kudus had a powerful effort blocked. The rebound fell to Wilson Adobert, whose deflected shot clipped the outside of the post. Then came the moment of the match. Miles Lewis-Skelly lost the ball in midfield, and Sarr picked it up near the halfway line. He looked up and struck a stunning 45-yard shot that floated over David Raya and into the net. A world-class finish and a well-deserved lead before the break. Both sides kept the same lineups at the restart. Arsenal had chances. Odegaard's shot deflected over. Martinelli fired high from 15 yards after a good move. Spurs nearly made it 2-0 when Matthijs' telephone crossed to Mickey van der Ven, who headed just wide. Martin Zubimendi had a half-volley deflect just over, but Vicario remained comfortable throughout. Arsenal's 15-year-old Max Daumann came close with a blocked shot late on. Spurs introduced James Maddison in the closing minutes, his first appearance since early May, a welcome sight for fans. It ended 1-0 to Spurs, with Sarr's goal proving the difference. Arsenal couldn't break down Spurs' disciplined shape, and Thomas Frank marked his first North London derby with a memorable win. Spurs now travel to South Korea for the next leg of their Asia tour, where they'll face Newcastle United. Sarr's strike, Maddison's return, a clean sheet, and silverware in front of a record crowd in Hong Kong. Like and subscribe to SportLab for more coverage of Spurs pre-season and all the latest transfer action. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.